So game 1 of the NBA Finals just concluded, which means it is now time to overreact. Now, I'm not going to overreact, but I do want to talk about the biggest takeaways from this game. And number 1 has to be Porzingis being healthy. Porzingis being awesome at basketball is not a takeaway, we already knew that, but him being healthy is not something we could automatically assume. And he's healthy, and in this game, he was amazing. And really the most impressive part was him on defense. We all knew he'd be able to make some shots, but him contesting shots, getting back on a fast break, not something we could have predicted. And as far as him on offense, if I'm Dallas, I'm not gonna overreact too much. If he's hitting 30-footers and that's how they send us home, that's how they send us home, I guess. But I feel the same way about the Celtics and Kyrie Irving. Like, in this game, Kyrie took quite a few tough shots that we all know Kyrie is capable of making. But if you're Boston, you kinda gotta live with that. As long as he's not getting easy catch and shoot threes like he was getting against Minnesota, if Kyrie's gonna kill you in his mid-range bag, then you kinda gotta live with that. You gotta trust your defense that they're gonna make it tough on him, and you gotta trust their offense that tough twos is not gonna beat your offense. Same goes with Porzingis. If you're Dallas and the possession ends with Porzingis taking a fadeaway 18-footer, you've done your job. Sometimes he's gonna make it, sometimes he's gonna miss it. That's just the game, as opposed to sending 2 at Porzingis. Maybe you get a couple turnovers, but more than likely you're gonna end up with a Derek White open corner 3 instead. You know, you kinda gotta pick your poison. And low-key, that might be this series. Who makes more of their tough twos, Porzingis or Kyrie Irving? That might be the series right there. But the second thing we learned in this game was Boston was relentless at attacking Luka Doncic on defense. More than the Clippers, more than OKC, and definitely more than Minnesota. They were making a point to attack Luka any chance they got, and specifically Jaylen Brown. And it's really funny because I feel like Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown have gotten so much better at just being under control, and that's not something you can really point to a stat sheet and tell you how they've gotten better. But you guys remember earlier this year when the Warriors were playing the Celtics and they came up with this game plan that we're gonna leave Jaylen Brown open. Now, I think that was a little bit exaggerated. I think the Warriors were tired and they used that as an excuse. But the idea was we're gonna bait Jaylen Brown into making bad decisions. That's been the plan with a lot of teams against the Celtics. We want Jaylen Brown to try to take over. And if you've been watching this playoffs, that is not working out. Jaylen Brown is taking over. And I feel like Luka ending up on Jaylen Brown so much was a product of that, of we'll live with whatever Jaylen Brown's gonna do because we don't trust him as a decision maker. But he's proving time and time again that he's gonna make a play, he's gonna be aggressive, he's gonna get where he wants to get. Jaylen Brown has been phenomenal this playoff run. I don't feel like we're talking about it enough because people are trying to discredit the Celtics run. Understandably so, but Jaylen Brown has been phenomenal. And maybe that's what we're about to learn, that Jaylen Brown is even better than we thought. Which brings me to my next point, which is a positive for the Mavericks. I feel like this is not a Jason Tatum series in particular on offense. Unless he gets scorching hot from 3, then, you know, all bets are off. But just the comparison between him and Jaylen Brown in this series is Luka Doncic is not quick enough to stay with Jaylen Brown. Jason Tatum doesn't have that elite quick first step, which means Luka can, you know, hang a little bit more. A guy like Maxi Kleber cannot stay with Jaylen Brown. Again, Jason Tatum is not really gonna blow by you like that. Jason Tatum is an amazing player. He's probably gonna have a very good series, but he doesn't have the physical advantages in this matchup the way Jaylen Brown does. Even when it comes to smaller players like Josh Green or Kyrie Irving, they're quicker so they can meet Jason Tatum at his spot. Now, Jason Tatum can rise up and shoot over him, no problem. Jason Tatum will be fine. But watching this series, if I'm the Dallas Mavericks, I feel good about how we can guard Tatum. But the speed and force Jaylen Brown is playing with, I'm not sure how we're gonna handle that. Even in the second half of this game when it looked like the Mavericks were about to make the comeback, it was Jaylen Brown getting to the line, getting the 4th and 5th foul on Lively, being aggressive with speed and force, getting to the rim, getting to the line. Jaylen Brown is really playing out of his mind right now. And once again, it really speaks to how under control this Celtics team has been, and specifically Jaylen Brown. I don't want to minimize what Jason Tatum has been doing, but I would say Jaylen Brown has been the best Celtic this whole playoff run. And I would say he was the best Celtic tonight. Maybe you want to argue Porzingis just because of the first half performance, but Jaylen Brown was amazing on both ends of the floor. So was Porzingis, by the way. But Jaylen Brown is just at a level I didn't think he would ever get to. And maybe that's my ignorance, but he's playing amazing right now. The one thing I'd be a little bit worried about if I was a Celtics fan now, what's up with PJ Washington? This team was able to beat Minnesota without PJ Washington knocking down his threes. I don't think they're going to be able to beat Dallas without PJ Washington knocking down his threes. And right now it's looking like he just got hot against OKC. Besides that series, he's been bad shooting the three. But overall, I don't believe the offense is going to be that big of a problem for the Mavericks. Luka Doncic is Luka Doncic. He's going to do whatever he wants to do. The assists were very low in this game because no one else was knocking down shots, specifically Kyrie Irving. And that's the one thing I'm looking at if I'm Dallas. We got to get Kyrie Irving more threes. I know Kyrie's not Steph Curry, but Kyrie is very low-key one of the best shooters in the league, and specifically catch and shoot threes. Before this game, Kyrie was shooting 41% on catch and shoot threes. And when you get Kyrie on the move and playing with speed and attacking closeouts, then he can actually break the opposing defense. When it's Kyrie one-on-one, it looks amazing, and it is amazing. But like I said in the beginning of this video, the Celtics are gonna live with that every single time. But Kyrie can legitimately change a series with his catch and shoot three-point shooting. I know that's not something we look for Kyrie to do, but he's very quietly amazing at it. And obviously he's amazing at the pull-up three-point shooting as well. You can make the argument that maybe he should be on ball more, and maybe he should be the one attacking Porzingis in the pick and roll. But I don't really see it that way. I feel like they gotta get Kyrie more clean looks from three. But overall, the offense and the offensive process to me was not the problem in this game. The problem in this game was Porzingis got hot, which you can live with, or you can't live with it, but you kind of got to accept that. But the biggest takeaway from this game, for me at least, was they do not have a Jaylen Brown answer. But those were my takeaways from the game. Let me know in the comments down below what your biggest takeaway from this game was, and who do you have in this series, and if you had one team, or if you had the Mavericks, are you now off of that pick? Because I don't feel like you should be quite yet. Like I said, the Tatum stuff was encouraging. Porzingis got hot. You don't rely on that every single game. Kyrie's gonna shoot the ball better. Maybe PJ Washington will make a three. Derek Lively, did he even score in this game? Like, a lot can go better for the Mavericks. And the Mavericks do have a couple more options. We could see more Josh Green minutes. We could see some Dante Exum minutes. I feel like this wouldn't be a bad series for Exum. A lot to be determined, but what we learned from this series so far, Porzingis is healthy. Luka Doncic still amazing. They can't guard Jaylen Brown, and they can kinda, a little bit, sorta guard Tatum. Unless Tatum just starts sparking from three, then there's really nothing you can do about that. Although he has not been knocking down his threes this playoff run. That might change in the finals, who really knows. But overall, Mavericks fans should not feel too discouraged, but let me know how you're feeling in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm out. Peace.